Greetings, YouTube. I've talked about my anxiety and depression here on my channel many times. And this will be another one. In specific, my anxiety. When I was lost in my anxiety, and I spent decades lost in my anxiety, I was repeating and maintaining and preserving the patterns that had been established in my life from when I was a child. When I was in a situation where every day was a war zone, because I lived with a psychotic drunk, where it was utter chaos every single day, and I was desperately trying to find patterns, which of course there weren't any to find, because I was dealing with a psychotic drunk who was incapable of applying proper types of behavior and patterns to his life, let alone to the lives of my life, when he was trying to quote unquote raise me, which of course he didn't. But one of those things that the anxiety did is it narrows in my scope. It brought my vision in further and further and further and further, until my peripheral vision was inside my own head. And the world outside my head pretty much ceased to exist. And everything I saw in the world around me somehow related to me. Now, we are all the central characters in our own stories. That's what we are. Okay? We are always in the center stage for our own narrative. And that's fine. Very few of us have killed our egos, so that goes away. But it's what happens. The problem is that when I was lost to anxiety, and when I had completely contained myself inside my own skull, you all folks out there, all your stories, I was the center stage character in your stories too. But it wasn't in a positive, egotistical way. I wasn't projecting myself into that worldview because I thought, I'm so grand, I should be the center stage of everyone's story. No. It was the ultimate in negative. Because in my head, every single person out there was the enemy. And every single person out there was trying to get me, was trying to set me up, was trying to trick me and trip me up. All of you. Always. That you spent every waking minute trying to find a way to make me miserable. When in reality, of course, 99.99% of even the people I had contact with didn't know who I was and was not thinking of me. Now, I know that now, but I didn't know it then. I literally couldn't see it. Now, I had, as time passed and I had worked on some of my anxiety on my own, things got better, and I began to see people in a healthier way, but I began to see people as roles. Friend, girlfriend, coworker, doctor, nurse, dentist. And I didn't see them as people. Over time, if I got to know someone, I would see a deeper layer, but I wouldn't necessarily still see everything about them. It wasn't until really recently, like in the last year, that I've begun to see people in the full three-dimensional aspect of who they are. Sorry. I've got a cat shedding hair on my face. And it's just in the last year that I've begun to perceive people as individuals in their own right, and each of them on the center stage of their own narrative. I had a bad episode one day. I can't 100% remember what went wrong. I think it had something to do with getting lost, or I couldn't find something. I don't know what it was, but I was driving and my wife was with me. And I began to have a really bad anxiety episode. I haven't had many of them in my life. It was always a background anxiety. It just never went away. And as my anxiety level had gone down, it was nice, it was pleasant, but then one day it just spiked like you wouldn't believe. And my vision literally began to narrow. I began to lose my peripheral vision. And we went to a restaurant to sit down and eat because my wife knew that food would help me physically because this is a stage in my life when I was diabetic. I had already been diagnosed. And that would help me. And it was the type of food I knew I liked. That would help as well, comfort. It was not a healthy food. It was like spicy fries and a steak bomb. Not good for you, but very comforting and quite tasty. I'm always sad when that restaurant went out of business. But my vision got narrower and narrower and narrower until I was looking at the world like this. Like I had a pair of goggles on. And there was nothing outside that. It was just black. And it was terrifying. And the episode passed. I got some food in me. I talked to my wife. I had some coping mechanisms, so I tried to engage them, and it helped. And over the course of the next few hours, everything just kind of went right back to the way it was, and I was okay. I was back to this default state of anxiety I had in my life at that moment. It was higher, much higher than it is now, but much lower than it was when I was a kid. I need to own up to this. I need to apologize to everybody. Because I know I was a rotten bastard. And I may have had good reason for behaving the way I did. I was a wounded soldier. Because there was a reason, that isn't an excuse. And the fact that I have maintained friendships with anyone over the course of my life, and I have a few friends out there who I've known since I was a child. I've known some of these people for 40 years. The fact that I was able to maintain these relationships amazes me. Because I was a miserable douche for decades. And I don't have any idea what these people saw in me. But I'm thankful that they did. It sucked. And I wouldn't wish it on anyone. But it was what it was. And it's what happens when people that shouldn't have children and shouldn't raise children do. When they put children into a war zone every day of their life. And they end up with PTSD. And they end up with anxiety and depression. And they don't know how to cope with the world around them because they were never taught how. And they carry those behaviors into adulthood. They just keep doing them over and over and over again. Till we become our own abusers long after the person that started the process is gone. Either literally or figuratively. And I've now established a healthy relationship with my father. We're adults now. I'm 50, he's 77. I need to get a footage of the two of us. It's really remarkable how much we look alike. I know exactly what I'm going to look like in 27 years. Though, he's got more hair than me. But I'm sorry. I apologize. I know it sounds weird to hear me say that, because most of you weren't there. This is kind of a collective to everybody in the world I was ever unpleasant to. If you have anxiety, get help. It gets better. The process may be a little rough. You're going to end up looking at things that you may not want to, but that's one of the reasons we have the anxiety. You can change. You can be more relaxed and happier and healthier and have functioning relationships with friends and family and loved ones and wives and husbands and what have you. It's pretty darn grand when you look into someone's face and you see them and not some hollow reflection of your own wounds. It's pretty nice seeing people for who they are. I know I'm quite enjoying it. So, in closing, for me it's long ramble. I was unpleasant, and I'd like to think that I'm not now, though I am not perfect, and like I said recently in a video, we all are problematic in one degree or another. But it can get better, and you can be happier, and you can be less anxious, and it's pretty darn great. So, sorry, and I'll do better in the future.